Hi, I'm Dixie, and I am currently recovering from bronchitis. So I've been putting off doing this video until my normal voice returned, but here we are. That's why my little last year recap, this year goals video has been delayed until 2 months into the new year. But I really like doing these videos. They get me hyped up for new projects, which I need because this past year was pretty heavy for our family. We lost two major family members this past year, and I had some medical stuff to deal with. So, because of that, some of my projects took a lot longer to finish. So, while I do feel like 2022 wasn't as productive as 2021, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. But did I accomplish my goals from last year? I had a long list of sewing plans last January, but the big one was to use up my stash of silks and cottons and not buy any new fabric. At the start of the year, I finished both outfits out of my cotton fabric, the circa 1800 gown and my Amalia jacket and petticoat combo. Both of those were very successful projects, and I even wore them out to events last year. I also made some sleeve ruffles and a cap to go along with that 18th century outfit, plus a new hat. I did record that process of the making of that hat, so I don't want to share too much about that yet, but it will be coming to you sometime this year. I redesigned one of my old Regency dresses, although I wasn't totally happy with the end result, but that's okay. Not everything is a winner. Some of my smaller silk pieces became accessories, and I used almost every last inch of both of these fabrics for these projects. And I finished yet another Regency era garment, my open robe recreation using silk yardage I bought for that purpose. So that's more silk used. But my big fall costume project kind of commandeered any other plans I had for the rest of the year. The Jo March costume took a ton of time and effort and lasted from September through the end of November. I made 2 new undergarments for it, then I made a whole skirt and dress plus a bonnet. It was a fun project, and it probably wouldn't have taken me that long to complete it if I wasn't smack dab in the middle of Halloween and Thanksgiving season. But I had so much fun developing that look, and whenever I try a new time period, I always find something I love about it, and I'm so proud of the finished ensemble. Other than that, I made a new ironing board cover. I styled 3 wigs, and I invested in a few costume accessories, which I always encourage people to add to their historical looks. I reorganized my costumes in my closet because things were getting a bit out of hand with just all of the stuff I've created or acquired over the years. Besides that, I made, I think, 5 new dresses for my everyday wardrobe and a few clothes for my daughter, including 2 costumes. As for my goal to not buy new fabric last year, how did that go? Pretty well. Obviously, I needed to buy fabric for the Jo March dress, so I'm not counting that. That just popped up. The only other fabrics I bought last year, besides like muslin, were 5 yards of embroidered border cotton, which I got for a steal that I couldn't pass up. Embroidered cotton is usually quite expensive. The actual stitching in this is probably polyester, but it looks convincing enough. I'd like to make a late Edwardian lingerie dress, but that would depend on if I can maximize this border edge. I also bought this straw hat at an antique mall, and I think I could work it into a nice coordinating hat with some decorations. I bought 1 yard of black taffeta fabric. It was cheap because it was the end of the bolt, and I figured I can always use black taffeta. With that, I made the 18th century hat that I mentioned earlier. So again, get ready to see that later. And then there is this purple check silk taffeta. It was $10 a yard. I could not ignore a deal like that. So I bought 6 yards when I was hunting for fabric for my Jo March dress. I'm leaning towards making a floofy 1870s ensemble, but I don't think that I have enough yardage, so I'll need to buy a contrasting fabric to go with it. I also ordered some wool to make a coat last summer, hoping that I would sew it before I needed it this winter. And that did not happen. And I'm not counting that fabric against this goal because it was supposed to be for everyday wear, not a costume, but I thought I might share the sewing process because it is a vintage 1940s pattern. So we'll see if I get around to it before next winter. And that was it. I think I did a pretty good job of sticking to my goals, although I still have a lot of silk left. So what's in store for 2023? After that big Little Women project, I needed a break. It wasn't just that dress, it was that combined with an incredibly busy fall season for me that just wiped me out. So my goal for this year is to take it easy. Not to try to rush through projects, but take my time and enjoy the process, to not feel so stressed by deadlines and video releases. Since I finished the Joe dress, I've been working on an embroidery project. After I made my ribbon embroidery reticule last summer, I really caught the embroidery bug. This is just a white on white project, something simple to help practice techniques, but this is destined to become a 1911 shirtwaist. The embroidery itself is taking quite a long time, but assuming I get that done. I have this old costume from several years ago. It's an 1880s bustle gown, which I love, but it no longer fits and cannot be easily altered to fit. There is, however, yards of fabric in the over and underskirts, and I thought, what if I use that for another costume? It's a poly wool blend, but it would work perfectly for a skirt to go with that white blouse. So that is the plan for that. I am also currently working on an 18th century petticoat with this maroon silk, which you saw in the last year's silk collection video. I'm still chipping away on all that silk in my stash. Remember my biggest roll of silk fabric? This stuff is destined to be a big project for the year. I've got about 20 yards of this taffeta that's begging to become a robe a la française. Now, this is a major undertaking for me and I want to take it slow. I can't even guarantee that I will finish it in this year. I will likely work on it in stages, releasing different videos on different parts of the dress as it's completed. I'll also be making a new set of stays to go with it and some pocket hoops. I have the patterns for those ready to go. I'll need some fancy sleeve and neck frills, and I'll even be making my own trims. Yeah, I've been collecting threads and gear to make fly fringe and passementerie, and I even have a fancy new loom too, so that is quite exciting. I don't have any other plans at the moment for either big collaborations or events, and I don't want to overplan because you never know when something might pop up that requires an entirely new costume to be made in 3 months. One thing I don't see me doing a lot of this year is Regency. I made 3 big Regency costumes last year, and now that I have a wig and plenty of accessories for that time period, I feel like I have a decent sized Regency wardrobe for that era. I've got like 5 or 6 complete Regency era outfits that I could throw together with the garments that I already have. So barring an event in which I must make a new and different Regency outfit to wear, I don't see myself doing much Regency anytime soon. As ever, thank you so much for watching and supporting this channel. I make these videos because it helps to keep me accountable to my own goals. And I like having a visual document of the things that I create. Last year, I retired my Dixie DIY blog. I've been blogging since 2008, so I was sad to let that time in my life go, but this channel feels like a natural evolution of documenting my creativity. And I don't have any illusions that this channel is ever gonna blow up and go viral. I don't do like hot take commentary. I'm not snarky. I'm not an expert or a historian. I just like making stuff, and I'm very glad that you are here to watch it. If you haven't already, you can follow me on Instagram, where I also share some of my modern sewing and my other hobbies and activities that I am up to. I'm looking forward to what fun things we can create in 2023. So until next time, happy sewing.